With predictable inevitability, the Malvinas issue rears its ugly head, and President Milei repeats his controversial views on the legacy of Margaret Thatcher. Welcome to A Bloke in Buenos Aires with news and views in English from the capital of Argentina. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It's a question that every Argentine president has eventually to address, and how they choose to answer is always significant. What's your position on Las Islas Malvinas? The usual reply is a very assertive claim that the islands are Argentine sovereign territory currently under occupation by a foreign power, and they should be given back to Argentina as soon as possible. However, in a recent BBC interview, President Milei gave his own alternative view. The British are there. It's a fact that must be accepted. The rights of the islanders should be respected, but that one day, possibly a long time in the future, negotiations will see the return of the islands to Argentine rule where they belong. Milei has previously stated, during the election campaign, that the issue of the islands was not a top priority. There are more urgent things to attend to, like the Argentine economy. During his visit to speak at the World Economic Forum earlier this year, the President met with UK Foreign Minister David Cameron. While the Malvinas issue inevitably came up, the focus of the conversation was more to do with normal business relations. And when Cameron paid a visit to the islands recently, Milei shrugged it off as perfectly normal, while previous Argentine presidents had roared with outrage at any visit to the islands by a senior diplomat. The sovereignty of Las Malvinas has often been used by previous Argentine presidents as a nationalistic rallying point and a useful distraction from domestic problems. To give a bit of context to viewers who aren't from either Argentina or the UK, Las Islas Malvinas, or the Falkland Islands as the British call them, are a small archipelago of islands around 400 kilometres off the coast of Argentina and about 13,000 kilometres from the UK. On the islands live a small community of around 3,000 British citizens who've been there for generations. Argentina claims that the islands were given to the country by the Spanish crown upon independence, and that the British stole the islands and continue to be an occupying force. In 1982, the ailing military government of Argentina launched an invasion of the islands to distract from domestic woes, which ultimately failed. The short war saw the deaths of almost 1,000 British and Argentine troops and civilians. The war precipitated the fall of Argentina's military junta and a return to democracy, while ensuring Margaret Thatcher a huge victory at the British election the following year. In 2013, a referendum among the Falkland Islanders voted 99.8% to remain British. As far as the British government is concerned, the issue is now closed, but it obviously remains an open wound to Argentine national pride. When anniversaries come around, I tend to keep my head down and my mouth shut. During the Falklands War, the right-wing British press were vicious in their jingoistic attacks on the Argentine people, and 100% behind Margaret Thatcher, even publishing photos of her riding on a tank. The Iron Lady obviously became, and remains, a figure of hate among most Argentines. She's accused here of possible war crimes over ordering the sinking of the cruiser General Belgrano and the deaths of 323 Argentine sailors. However, controversially, Milei has on many occasions proclaimed his admiration for Mrs. Thatcher and her economic policies. He calls her his idol and one of the greatest leaders in the history of humanity, and apparently keeps a collection of Thatcher-related memorabilia in his office. Back in the UK, Thatcher's legacy remains controversial to say the least, arguably opening the doors to the UK's current economic and political difficulties. Javier Milei would perhaps do well to learn from his idol's mistakes. Okay, a big shout out and a huge thanks to all my new subscribers who watched and liked my last video. And thanks for all the comments. There were literally hundreds and I couldn't get round to answering them all, but thanks anyway. One thing that kept coming up, Argentina isn't full of the descendants of escaped Nazis. That's a tired old stereotype. Besides, most of the German-speaking communities with dodgy ancestry are further up the river in Paraguay. If you like this latest video, please give it a like, and if you're not already subscribed but want to see more content like this, just click on the button. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee in the link below. And until next time, que tengas un buen día.